I started making this video expecting to find a catch because there is no way a global equity ETF, including emerging markets, could cost just 7 basis points. To put that in context, that's the same fee as an S&P 500 tracker, one of the most liquid and vanilla ETFs out there, a fund that only holds around 500 stocks. So when Amundi comes along and says, here's the entire world for the same price, my instinct was, surely there is a catch. Hidden trading costs, aggressive security lending, synthetic index replication. But the more I pulled the numbers apart, the more the story changed. Because this wasn't a story about hidden costs, it was a story about margin. Let me show you how. If you're watching this, you already know that fees just don't chip away at your returns, they compound against them. So why pay 20 basis points when you can pay just 7? Imagine two people, same salary, same savings, same market returns. The only difference? ETF fee. They invest over 30 years. Let's say that both have a 50k salary, which grows in line with inflation, 3%. They save and invest £500 a month, that's 6k a year, also rising with inflation, and there is an 8% pension contribution. So pension contribution plus saving, it is about 10k a year, rising with inflation. And the market return is 8% a year. With a 20 basis point fee, their investment grows to 1.62 million after 30 years, and with a 7 basis points, it goes closer to 1.65 million. That tiny 13 basis points difference quietly compounds into about 37k pounds in fees, and that's real money for doing nothing differently. So how on earth is Amundi able to go that low? At first, the answer seems obvious. Cut costs to the bone. And to an extent, that's true. Take index licensing. That's the fee a fund pays to an index provider so they are able to track the benchmark. For many ETFs, that fee alone can eat up about a third of the total expense ratio. Here, Amundi tracks a cheaper index, same market, lower licensing cost. That helps, right? So tick. But it doesn't explain everything. Once you look past licensing, the rest of the cost base looks surprisingly okay. Custody, admin, all the usual operating expenses, pretty much in line with the market. Then there are trading costs. That's the cost of actually buying and selling securities inside the fund. These costs are not included in the expense ratio, so most people ignore them, but they are quite telling. And this is where I was expecting to find the skeletons, except there were none. Trading costs are broadly in line with comparable global ETFs, which is surprising because this fund uses physical replication, meaning that the fund aims to own the underlying stocks rather than relying heavily on derivatives to get exposure. To offset costs, some trackers use securities lending. Lending shares out to get extra income. Again, nothing unusual here. Lending income looks in line to comparable peers. So if the cost base looks okay, then the difference has to come from the margin, right? The expense ratio includes a management fee, and that's where the company actually makes its money. At 7 basis points, there is almost nothing left. In this fund's case, it is just 3 basis points that go to the manager. So that's quite thin compared to others, which tells you this isn't an accident, it's a strategy. In my opinion, Amundi is undercutting others in a part of the market where other people are charging between 15 and 20 basis points for effectively the same exposure. So either the fund scales to a size where razor-thin margins still work, or becomes a loss leader with the aim of growing AUM and cross-selling products across the platform. And we've seen this playbook before, Fidelity with its zero-fee funds. So this is the real story. We spent a lot of time obsessing over market timing, asset allocation, clever strategies, but sometimes the biggest difference comes from something far less exciting, an expense ratio. If two funds own the same market, then the fee is the strategy. And over a working lifetime, that strategy quietly compounds into £37,000 of real money for doing nothing differently at all.